Our nation's in the middle of an opioid crisis, with overdose deaths in 2016 occurring once every 15 minutes. But here's the thing, the epidemic hasn't only affected humans. Sadly, it's also reached our pets. Opioid abusers are reportedly maiming or abusing their pets on purpose in order to get veterinarians to prescribe popular but cheap painkillers, things like tramadol, which they then take for themselves. We want to discuss this crazy news, this concept. It's the star of Amazon's Pet Doctors of Atlanta. Welcome back, veterinarian Dr. Arvid Edward, to the show.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
I'm glad to be here.
Have you seen this? People coming?
Yes. You know, I've seen it a couple of times, 2 times that stick out, and I have colleagues that have seen it. I mean, one time a dog comes in, has a bruise on the side. So, of course, you know, treat the bruise, give them pain medication, but then the owner asks for tramadol by name.
By name.
Because I offered a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. She declined it by saying, oh, my dog vomits on that. Can you give him tramadol? But that was the first time, so I gave enough for like 10 days. 3 weeks later, the dog comes back with the bruise on the opposite side. And so that's when my antennas go up, because when I told her that I'm gonna do a different pain regimen, she got upset when I wouldn't give her the tramadol.
Which is a very common thing that addicts will do, and they'll try to steer the practitioner towards a certain class of medications. But the thought that an owner, no matter how addicted they are to drugs, that they would actually break their pet's leg or intentionally harm them, this is really hard for a lot of us to stomach. Are there other classes of medication where people, okay, I know if I go see the vet, I might be able to score a few weeks of this particular med?
Well, these drugs are put into categories, so Schedule 1 through 5. As the schedule goes up, the tendency for abuse or dependency decrease. So the lower the schedule, the higher the risk for abuse and dependency. So in Schedule 1s, you have like your heroines, your ecstasies, your LSD. We're not allowed to write prescriptions for those. Right. I mean, we could, we just go to jail. But, you know.
I know where you'd go to Philly.
The reason I ask is because, you know, tramadol, typically someone's coming into the ER, for instance, they're not gonna ask for that. They're gonna ask for
something stronger,
a heavier hitter.
Vicodin, Norco, Dilaudid.
And I'm not aware of how much those are used in the pet world, so that's where I'm sort of naive. The
oxycodones, the codeines, the morphines are not really used to the extent of like the tramadols.
Gotcha.
That's why tramadol is in Schedule 4, the codeines, the morphines, the oxycodones is in Schedule 2. But I think one way to stop this is maybe move tramadol to a Schedule 2, because that'll make it harder to get, you know, and less attainable to people out there. It won't stop it, because people are always gonna find a way to beat the system. But at least they'll slow it down.
I'm curious, before we let you go.
Sure.
In humans, if a child comes in and we suspect child abuse, we get the Department of Child Services on board quickly. There's obviously not the same type of organization for pets. So if your spider senses are up that this pet may be abused at home for this purpose, how do you approach that? Because technically, this pet owner is committing a crime.
Exactly, which is why definitely you get the police involved, but then too, you also get animal control involved.
Okay.
And so when I've had to deal with clients like this, that's what I did. I politely said, well, you know what, let me go check on that tramadol for you. I walk to the back, I call animal control, call the police, and while they're sitting in the exam room waiting on the tramadol, then animal control and the police comes in, and then they take it from there.
And people out there have to know that animal abuse is a crime.
Yes, and you can go to jail.
Today, they're gonna know that.
If you suspect animal abuse, do get animal control involved. Dr. Edward, always a pleasure, my friend.